Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hoofwave podcast. I'm Formal Riot. Today with me is the owner of Hoofwave, Nav.
Yay.
We have the Slord returning to discuss all that deviancy we know and love. We have new podcaster Lycan. And
hello there.
Hello. And our special guest today is none other than the fanfic writer Dr. Spectrum.
Hello there.
Hello there. So, however, all that fun stuff that we normally do with the interviews and the talking about the latest news, that's all crap today. Because a week ago, we were all in the same place in the sunny, stormy, no sun at all. Why did I even open with sunny? Because it was a goddamn cyclone. Of course, the Gold Coast, Ponycon Au. Whew. That was fun. So yeah,
hey, that's my hometown. I still live there.
You do still live. Is it sunny now? Has it gotten better?
It is great weather at the moment. Sunny. It's beautiful.
So then why was there a cyclone when we were all there?
I don't know. I blame Nav.
What? That was... Hey, that's so cool. I actually... Yeah, we arrived and it was raining, right? And then that storm moved south. When I went back to Sydney, it's really stormy here now.
So it just follows you.
It followed me.
Lucky you. However,
Yeah.
I mean, this is as good a place as any to inform those who weren't there what exactly went down at Ponycon. At least that's what I was hoping to discuss, because all four of us had very different roles at the convention, yet every single one of us had an important role. I mean, Spectrum was on panels. Nav was doing all the photography.
I was supposed to be on a panel, but I opted out.
Yeah. Lycan was doing the photography. Or not photography, security. Security.
Lycan can talk to us about that panel, because he was on it.
Yes. And then I was just sort of there, I guess, around, doing nothing too important, except for talking and bullshitting. There's, bing, 1 count. Bullshitting, 2 count. Most of the panels and on stage. But yeah, it was... I really want to hear the different perspectives of what went down, because I'm sure we all have very, very different stories.
Yes.
That was a segue.
Yes. Many
Dude, nice.
stories.
Sorry, I just saw it in person in our little chat. That was GM Barrow followed him on Twitter.
Oh, man.
Lucky.
Okay, so
Dude, nice.
do you want to know the story behind that one?
Sure.
Yeah,
let's start with that.
Yeah. Because I couldn't get any of them to follow my anything.
Ah, boo.
You could probably get Ingrid to follow you.
Actually, yeah, if I poke her,
maybe.
she probably would.
Yeah, and get McKenna to help you as well.
She loved me. Anyways,
Ingrid
carry on. I'll
followed
get into
McKenna.
that later.
Alright, so what happened was, this was on the Sunday, and I was doing my usual security stuff, and just walking around, making sure that everything was all good. And it was Sunday around 1 p.m.-ish, around lunchtime, and everything was pretty quiet, and I'd got to know Ingrid a little bit because of one of my overseas friends. My overseas friend told me, go up to Ingrid and ask her if she wants to go to a spy bar. And me being me, I'm like, sure, I'll do that. So on the Saturday, when I first saw her, I'm like, hey Ingrid, my friend from overseas wants to know if you want to go to a spy bar. And she went, oh my god, is there one here? I really want to go. Oh, that sounds fantastic. And I'm like, I have no idea what a spy bar is. He just told me to say that to you. And he's like, oh, I had so much fun. I think it was in Milwaukee or wherever it was overseas. Anyway, he's like, oh, it'd be great to get to chat and know you and stuff like that. So anyway, that was on the Saturday, and I built a bit of rapport with Ingrid. So it was Sunday about 1 p.m. And I was just doing almost nothing. And Ingrid came up to me and she's like, hey, did you want to go for lunch? And so I'm like, sure. So I radioed into the other security guys. I'm like, is anything happening? They're like, nah, head off for lunch. I'm like, alright, shall do. So I went out to lunch with Ingrid and Joseph and another guy. So it was the four of us. We went down to this cafe.
I heard about this, yeah.
Eating lunch, yeah. And this was about 10 minutes before her panel, and I meant to bring Ingrid back for her panel, because it was her panel. Anyway, I'm sitting there, and she gets a phone call. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just at that cafe that we're at yesterday. Oh yeah, I see ya. Anyway, so GM Barrow comes along and sits down with us, and I'm like, oh hey, and she's like, oh hey, I'm Jillian. I'm like, hey, I'm Lycan. She's like, oh nice to meet you. So anyway, this was about 5 minutes before her panel, and so I turned to Tom, or yeah, Tom it was, and I said, you don't mind just taking Ingrid back to her panel, do you? And Tom's like, not at all. So Tom got to walk Ingrid back to a panel, and I'm sitting down in this cafe with just me and Jillian, and we're just having a chat, and an ibis comes along. And of course, Jillian's never seen an ibis before. She's like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, they're pests. And she's like, oh, so they're like the pigeons of Australia. And I'm like, yeah, very much like the pigeons of Australia. They're absolute pests. They just go everywhere and eat everything.
I think
And she's trying to chase this ibis around to take a photo of it. So she's chasing this ibis around in the cafe to take a photo of this exotic bird.
wait, was the ibis not wanting to get its photo taken?
Oh, it was after food. It was just walking around trying to get food. And
See, I'd like to think the ibis was just like, hiding at this time, because you're saying chasing around. Like, I'm picturing the ibis just doesn't want its photo taken.
well, there were all these tables and chairs, so it was weaving in and out the tables and chairs. So Julian's there running around trying to take this photo of an ibis. So anyway, yeah. We sat down, had a nice chat for about 20 or so minutes and had a drink, and I explained to her about the ibis and a lot of the native wildlife and stuff and just random things. And then she's like, oh yeah, we should probably head back to the convention. I'm like, sure. So we ended up going back to the convention, and she watched the rest of Ingrid's panel and just had an awesome time. But yeah, it was about a couple of days ago, I tweeted at her, I'm like, ibis! Oh, I hope you're having fun doing whatever it is you're up to at the moment. Don't work too hard, that kind of stuff. And so, alas, GM Burrow now follows me on Twitter.
Nice. I found first of all, like, that story is just gonna crap all over anything I had. Like, that was awesome.
I
But
should
like,
have saved it till last.
I know we should have. Oh well. I'm just gonna throw this out there though. Like, in interacting with all of the special guests at the convention, I found GM Burrow definitely to be the most down to earth. Like, she was the most relatable and like easiest to talk to, and I don't think that's as much because the other guests were, up themselves. Like, far from it. Just Ingrid was a trip. Like,
Oh, she was great.
she was someone that I think there's two ways I've found myself describing Ingrid, like, throughout all this. The first one being, she is the most LA person I've ever met who doesn't live in Los Angeles. Like, very zen, very new wave. And then, like, you could almost say she's pretty much Maud Pie from the show, but if you replace rocks with yoga.
Oh yeah.
Because just at the start of the convention, like right before the very first guest panel, when I was going out to mediate that, and I was talking to them, and like I had all the guests were there, and I asked, like, okay, is there anything that you want to go over and want to talk about? And Megan McCarthy was just like, no, not really. GM Burrow, I'm not even sure. She wasn't even there. And Ingrid was just like, no. Although, I do like yoga. I think yoga is really good. We should do yoga. We should talk yoga. Then she puts her hand on my shoulder. She's like, you can do yoga. You should do yoga. We should talk about yoga. And as I'm sitting there trying to process that, like, woman I just met wants to subvert the panel about yoga, that's when we get called on stage. So any stage fright or any nerves that was coming from that, it was me still trying to, like, comprehend how the hell we're going to talk about yoga on the panel. And I believe the question that I asked her to bring it up was, like, the worst question I asked of the entire convention. Like, something along the lines of, I heard you have other interests besides the voice acting that you do for a job. Can you talk about them?
Very nice segue. Well done. Well done.
Oh yes, I like to dance.
Oh, the dance. That
that
dance.
was great.
I didn't think
That-
anyone expected that, or was
No. And as much as we didn't expect the dance, we even less expected her to just stand behind the podium and rip her pants off. which happened.
I want to say it now, right? But all 3 guests took my business cards,
Ah, yeah.
Oh, well done.
right?
Well done.
So, very real chance that they may or may not just like listen in for like 5 minutes.
Or more realistically,
Yeah,
oh, you never know. Tweet it.
because they
follow
wanted to
us.
see photos and stuff.
Yeah, like you never know. And I mean, especially in the case going back to GM Burrow, like she is so down to earth and relatable. She is the kind of person. Shout out if you're listening, because you never know. And I would love for you to listen to this little shindig we put together here. Learn more behind the creepy, sweaty Jewish kid who was talking you through the stage. Learn more about the Sri Lankan guy with the photograph and the security, as well as one of the other riders who had the very nice red suit up on the panel, and the rider in the chicken luchador mask.
Oh yeah, I only saw photos of that from my photographers, but like you looked majestic.
I couldn't believe that I actually got a cheer.
I'm disappointed you didn't wear it the
I
whole
couldn't
panel.
believe I actually got a cheer when people when I was announced. I was like, oh hey, look, pointing at the people. Yeah.
But like, I'm really sad I missed that entire riders panel because I heard it was definitely one of the more interesting ones of the first day. Some of the reasons being good, some of the reasons being not so good. But like, I mean, the monkey in the room here with the riders panel was, I forget who it was, but brought up the fact that like he likes to write pony torture and gore.
I think that was
What?
I think that was misinterpreted, because what I heard from Matthew McKenna was what he had said was someone asked like, what type of genres do you find easy to write versus what which you don't, and what McKenna told me was that what he had said was, I find comedy harder to write than pony torture. but it went straight to 4chan and was excommunicated to everyone in the convention.
I can actually.
That's well,
I could be wrong as well. but
I've
Storg was
I've
like-
actually read most of his stories. Obviously, being a pre-reader now. Granted, I actually handed some of his stories off to other pre-readers because we don't want to be biased or whatever. But I have never seen any kind of torture in any of his stories, so I'm guessing that maybe he's talking mental torture, and it just sort of came out wrong. But yeah, I don't think. I think it just.
it could also have been like, yeah. Sorry, that might be
Nah,
Skype lag.
Yeah, it was just
edit
yeah,
that out.
edit that out, edit the whole thing. No, but yeah, I think it was just misinterpreted, and he might have had a little stage fright going as well, because he mentioned that before the panel as well. He's like,
Yeah, I think
I don't like talking in front of crowds. It's like, you're all right.
He was.
Mm.
Yeah,
It-
he was at least as nervous as me, and I was feeling pretty nervous.
Was he the
there.
one with the long hair?
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, it was the long hair ponytail,
Alright.
and we really should know his name if we're going to be
Cerulean
talking about him.
Cerulean voice. That's it.
Cerulean.
Who actually?
I see. I think that was just like a misconceived attempt at a joke. To be
He's-
honest, like,
he's the one who didn't-
pony torture, fun, fun, fun.
He's the one who didn't want me to take a photo of him.
He actually,
Yeah.
he was actually quite well spoken
Well, like he was shy.
during Salvage Con. So like that little tidbit there, that was a bit of a surprise. I was like, oh wow, okay. And I don't know if like it's on video or whatever, but I think I sort of leaned forward to like look down the lane, because he was sitting at the very end of the table, and I'm like, I'm thinking to myself at that moment, and you might be able to see it in my eyes. It's like, I've never read any sort of torture in your stories, but I didn't say anything because it was just interesting enough to listen.
But like, aside from that, I mean, I really should know this because Spectrum. I'm pretty sure this was your first panel you've been on in a convention thing. Slorg, I don't know if it's your first or second.
Third.
But how was that experience for both of you? Like to get up and do it.
You go first.
I found I was quite nervous about it beforehand, but once I was on there and the questions being asked, I was very much like, oh, this is all stuff I can answer. I'd say I'd answer questions because I was the very first in, I think, for almost every question to be asked. So I'd say what my response, and then it'd move down, and I'd sort of be like, oh, so that's what they meant by that question, or oh, I should have said that. But for the most part, I thought it went really well. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed doing it.
Like, well, what was the best moment, I guess, for you when you were up there, though? Because, I mean, yeah, it's daunting, but at least in my experiences when I used to do panels and all that, like, there's always one moment that you tend to remember, like, first convention, punched in the face, second convention, people reminding me all day about the time I got punched in the face. Was there, like, a specific moment that's really going to stand out for you?
No, not that I can really think of off the top of my head. Like, unless you count the torture thing, which we were just talking about. Like, I think it was the panel. I think just sort of went as it should have, and I think it was pretty good.
I think it went really smooth.
And then what about for you, Sloan?
Yeah, I think everything went really smooth for the most part. Even the little torture bit, I think 4chan just sort of jumped on that just because that's 4chan. That's what they do. But yeah, everything went really smooth. This was.
I think that was the only thread that happened this convention.
Really, I'm actually kind of surprised that everything did go so smoothly, all panels concerned. But I mean, I know a few tried to mention the whole Hooves line thing, but nobody really grabbed onto that, because I think they were kind of stretching on that one.
What was the Hooves line
Whose line
thing?
is it anyway? Actually, another one of the writers, Agent Bookfort, hosted that, and it was basically whose line is it anyway, just concerning horses. And one of the
Wait, Bookfort was there, and I didn't say hello to him?
and
God
No,
damn it.
like I'm curious what your
a meme actually started.
Go on.
Started out of that, and it's Bab's Seed is Dead, because they did that one game where you have one line that you're allowed to say, and one of the lines was Bab's Seed is Dead, and so that actually made it into the fan fiction competition that I later judged. One of the stories actually had that line in it, so apparently it spread around a little bit, and there were people saying it all over the place.
So,
I'm
like,
just gonna.
the memes that came out of Ponycon were follow the riot.
That was not a meme that came out of
It
that.
was a hashtag, and
it was-
it should have gone further. It was follow,
Follow the riot.
Good job, Paul.
Yep, good job, Paul.
Good job, Paul. And
And-
Bab's Seed is dead.
Babsy is dead.
And I'm responsible for 2 of those, so that makes me happy because I'm gonna stop playing dumb now here. Like, Bab's Seed is dead. That was my doing. Because I was hosting the Hooves line is it anyways panel. When you said incident, I thought you meant like something happened in the writers panel in relation. Like, sorry about that. But Hooves line, like Bookfort put together. I did a lot of the writing with Keyframe and Bookfort the night before, but Babseed is Dead was my own creation.
Wasn't there?
And I'm laying claim
Wasn't
to
there?
that.
I don't know if this is true, but wasn't there a line where it was like, "We're running out of food," and somebody's like, "Bab's Seed is dead."
Oh,
that
that's
was-
terrible.
That was similar. I mean, the premise of that one was. Well, first of all, I'm gonna go back a bit. The Who's line is it anyway? That was way more successful than it had any right to be, because at the end of the day, none of us are stand-up improv comedians at all, whatsoever. And initially, the plan for that, I'm pretty sure, was Bookfort had a list of games, and he was just like, "Yeah, we'll choose some of these and play them." At which point, I was like, "No, we're gonna prepare as much as possible for this, because nothing would be worse than 4 awkward, sweaty bronies trying to be stand-up comedians when they really aren't." So, a lot of it was written, and that game in particular was 2 lines, and the premise was the CMC had gone splunking, and they can only say 2 lines and they're lost, and I don't remember the names. I don't know what went wrong was one. Maybe we should use this. Forget the third, and then the fourth was Bab's Seed is Dead.
I think one of them was, "I wonder what
And it
this
was
tastes
just
like."
Yeah.
That was the Aloe and Lotus
okay.
one, I think.
Yeah, the Aloe and Lotus one had the "What does this taste like?" Except Keyframe kept bringing back the Bab's Seed is Dead, because it was a hit. But whose line is it anyway? That was probably my favorite panel to be on, because it was so freaking fun and funny to just be sitting back and watching these guys with make complete fools of themselves, and the audience just loved
From
it.
what I've heard.
I unfortunately missed out on watching it.
I know you missed out on like King Sombra trying to pick up chicks while after being reformed by Pinkie Pie, and
I came in for a bit and I saw the Dragon Ball Z thing.
yes. But yeah,
That was
both
good.
that panel and the Iron Artist panel, which was pretty much Iron Chef, but you replace a cooking ingredient with an arts and crafts material. Both of those were so. They felt so unorganized from behind the scenes, yet they each came across so well. I know with the Iron Artist, a little behind the scenes drama background, I guess. The ingredients that we were supposed to use went missing about like 30 minutes before we went up. So Dawn, like one of the organizers of the entire convention, in a moment of panic, just went ahead and got this bag of materials, which I just sort of threw at them. So it wasn't at all what we had planned, and it still was super successful despite Nazgurian. Was it Nazgurian? No, it was Scarlet. Scarlet literally burned her hand at the start of the panel with a glue gun to the point where it was blistering and horrifying to look at, and soldiered through. As well as the fact there was an actual solid like Bitcoin, a legitimate Bitcoin was there and being used, and me and my moment of brilliance opened it thinking it was fake and not real, so I probably cost the con some money there. My bad. But yeah, and again, like, it's complete shambles behind the scenes. Amazing to spectate and view for the audience. So, go figure. We made pony puppets.
Alright, so we're like just taking turns and talking about the convention, I guess.
Yeah.
I missed out on that one as well.
You
me
just missed
too.
out on everything fun.
The only panels I saw was Ponified, the
Ooh.
auction, and something else. I can't remember.
Ponified.
Hooves line and one other, and a little bit of the visual art tips panel.
Ponified was that.
It went well. I asked the question. I like that one of the panelists, Brilliant, tried to make a black joke when I asked the
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Yeah,
if-
when I saw a question and then he leant over the table and said, "Who is that there sitting in the darkness? I cannot see them."
Everything about that panel it should be like studied for future panelists and MCs as to
Oh, yeah.
what not to do
Yeah.
on a panel.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I know that Fidek has told me that she kicked him under the table and told him not to do that.
I know, but she wasn't any much better. Like I'm pretty sure, language warning. An exact thing that she said was, "Brill, you're kind of a piece of shit." Oh shit! I just said shit.
I
Yeah,
could
that
see
sounds
Kaz
like-
doing that too.
That sounds
Yes.
like Kaz.
Yeah, like, and I love them to pieces. And I wanted to be like, okay, my plan with that was, here's the worst thing. Like, tell us some stories about some things that you have gone wrong, but how you worked through them. And then talked about like all the awesome feel-good moments. And they just kept going back to the shit that's gone wrong. And now I'm doing a Kez. The stuff that went wrong. And then I'd be like, okay, well, what about some good things? It's like, oh, that was good. But man, Kez, that one time when you got lost with the directions and just like, they came across as looking so dysfunctional and horrible, but it was so hilarious and entertaining because there's each such big personalities and
Oh, definitely.
Oh yeah, you get a couple of big personalities on a panel, and you just watch them go at it, and it's just fantastic to watch.
I mean, it was probably the most like it would have been one of the most entertaining panels on the main stage for sure. Granted, there was like no one there because it's like the end of the day, unfortunately, of day one, and people were getting ready for the Ponycon
For the
After
concert.
Dark. Yeah, the concert and the games. But and a huge shout out, like I love both Brill and Kez so much, but they need someone with much more moderating chops than my own to keep those two under control because I could not. You can't control them. You really can't. Like they're such big personalities. Case in point, Brill was the one who showed up to the first PonyCon in the Pedo Bear outfit with the sign asking where all the little girls are at.
I remember that.
Yeah, like
Does he have a filter?
I don't
No.
think he does. Like
No.
I remember like this the first PonyCon. I've been a volunteer for all three of them. I've been a photographer. Like I was standing in line with my friends, my schoolmates, and we see this guy walk out in the Pedo Bear outfit, and we're like, I really hope there are not as many people like that as I'm hoping there will not be. And it turned out to be the only one, so I was happy. And then, like, months later, I found out that was brilliant, and I was like, what the fuck?
I thought it was brilliant.
Ding.
Yeah.
I thought
Oh,
it was
ding,
legitimately
sorry,
brilliant.
my bad.
Oh. But yeah, like, that entire moment with him where he showed up in that, because that was my first experience really traveling overseas to meet up. Oh, no, that wasn't. No, I take that back. It was my second experience traveling overseas, and the first one was really good, but, like, it was a much smaller thing. And then just, I wanted more. I wanted more Pedo Bear costumes. Because
Jesus.
people like that treat the
What?
fandom how it should be treated, in my opinion. Like, it's not a serious thing. This is a thing for fun. He's clearly having fun. He's making fun of himself as well as all of us. I don't know. I like it. I think it was in good taste, and I would love to see the return of Pedo Bear at the next convention.
I don't think
Well,
so.
did anyone actually take that badly? Because, like, I saw it and I remember I laughed at
Yeah,
it. Like,
but-
I think most people did. Like, no one saw him and was like, whoa, is this guy for real or
They did have
anything.
to ask him to stay inside and like take it off at some point, but I know that between the first convention, the second convention, and the third one, there has been an increase in little children attending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I noticed
That's
that
true.
we've been more
Well, with
careful.
that Pedo Bear outfit, he was actually seen at Target later that day because he heard that boy's pants were half off.
Of course.
Oh, beautiful.
is it? I don't know. Is that a ding or not? I'm not sure.
Ding ding.
It's
Nah.
a
Nah, that's
it's a backwards
all good.
ding. Gnid.
that one's a good taste.
But yeah, like that panel was something special.
Out of
Let's move on from that for what was the next thing in that whole, which was that concert, because the concert was event. I'm going to call it that.
I still can't feel my toes.
Oh, you were dancing?
Yeah.
Nice. I was not game enough to get on that dance floor. That was maybe I just
thing
thought at a
I
bad
love
moment.
about Brony conventions having concerts is that because of the atmosphere, there are people on the dance floor who would not be at a nightclub, like ever.
Yes.
Like there was this really, really nice guy who was fairly large, and he was just like, "I'm here to have fun. I don't care." I had to restrain myself there.
Good
and
save.
and
good
he
save.
was just dancing and stuff, and I was like, "Jeez, that's awesome! Like this is what we can do in this environment. We
See,
can actually cut loose without anyone caring. We're all on the same page here, and it's just the
Yeah.
best feeling." And
yeah,
I'll
I
never
agree with
dance
that.
in those black
feels-
shoes again, because every single time I do, this happened last year as well. For like 2 or 3 months after, I don't know what time the feeling came back, but like the bottom of my big toe, I could not feel it. Like at all.
Well, I still
I
can't
can't.
feel my knee and leg since then.
I
Haha.
can't
But
feel
no.
it right now.
No, I couldn't get into the dance floor because, and maybe I saw it at the wrong time, but when I came down there from upstairs, which I'll get more into upstairs later, but downstairs, like Spectrum, anyway, sorry, I'm getting sidetracking myself here. I went into the dance room, and I walked to the side next to this volunteer who I need to find again. Like, he was a really, really good volunteer. And we were just sitting there watching, and it was one of the first acts, if not the first act. And first of all, walking in, the first thing I noticed is no one except for one person is on the dance floor. Everyone else is sitting on chairs and along the side, sort of surrounding the dance floor in the half circle and the stage. And there's 2 people on the dance floor, and they're just going to town. Like, they're having the time of their life. They don't care that everyone's watching them and probably judging them. They're having a blast. But to everyone on the outside, it's the most awkward, horrible, cringeworthy dancing
Yeah,
imaginable.
They have
I-
to sort of like warm into it, but like
Yeah.
I don't know about the first act, but the further it got into the night, the more people actually got in. I know that Ev Dog and myself started one of Eltrain's mosh pits during Rainbow Factory.
Yeah. Well, like, there's still more, though, for when I came in, too, because that wasn't really the worst part. Like, I can get behind a slow dance floor. Hell, like, I'd be one of the people who would jump up and just start getting people going. But the problem I found was the song choice for this sort of situation was a Weird Al Yankovic cover about pony shipping. and it was very blatantly about pony shipping, which is, sort of one of the more, I guess, awkward topics to begin with. I mean, you can't ask the guests about shipping, but you can sing about it now, apparently. So it's a song about shipping, Weird Al cover. And the guy on stage, I'm not knocking him at all. He was going to town and, was super into it and jumping up and down on the stage, but no one was enjoying it, it felt like. And it was really awkward and horrible, and I felt for him because he's a good singer and performer, but,
I recall being
pony shipping.
I recall being outside of the doors, and I could hear it through the doors, and it sounded like something completely different than ship every time he said it. And and it was actually it wasn't Weird Al. It was a Rage Against the Machine cover, and
it was the Weird Al cover of. It was Weird Al parodying Rage Against the Machine. I can go into this one. The song that he was covering was Al Suna.
Yep.
Which is the Weird Al in the style of Rage
It
Against the Machine.
sounded so bad.
So it's a cover of a cover.
Outside the doors, it sounded so bad because I actually was coming towards us, and I can't remember who I was talking to, but I said, "Are they saying what I think they're saying?" And there's just kids just down the hall. I was like, "We gotta shut them up," because we thought they were saying something entirely different. But yeah, and then we found out that it was ship, and I was like, "That doesn't sound like ship." Just saying.
Doesn't even sound like boat.
Nope.
I was on the door duty for that one. I was checking everyone's bad, the bracelet things to make sure that they're allowed to go in there. And yeah, we actually had a couple of outside people going, "Oh, what's going on in there? What's going on in there?" I actually had a couple, and they were in their 60s or whatever. And they heard what was going on, and they're like, "Can we have a look?" So I'm on door duty. I'm like, "Sure, why not? Have a look." So I just opened the door and they stuck their head in. They're like, "This is really cool."
And that's when they just bolted in and started partying down, and security had to chase them down, right?
Oh yeah, totally. That's exactly what happened with a couple of 60-year-olds.
Security during the nights was actually really, really cool.
Oh, they loved it. They thought it was great.
Yeah.
Upstairs as well, because upstairs I saw more action happening upstairs with the Smash Brothers tournament. People were getting into that. Was I the only one who was up there?
I was up there for a little while. I was just all over the place that night. So.
Yeah.
But I remember going up there and I saw the line for Smash Brothers, and I just literally turned around and went back down to the concert.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There was mixed reports. I think at the start of the night, the Smash Brothers was definitely a larger draw because there's a crowd of 40, 50 people there getting into it at one stage. And so I felt a little awkward just witnessing that, wow, these people spent extra money to go up and watch the Smash Brothers when there's a live music show happening downstairs. And then I, checked myself and realized, well, that's kind of where I am now as well, so. But I heard the end of the concert did pick up and was good, so.
Yeah, I think the games upstairs finished around 10-ish.
Yeah.
And that's when everyone came downstairs to the concert. The actual guests arrived at the concert about 9 o'clock, and they'd gone by about 9:30. So they were there for a good half an hour.
Yeah, they were there for Evan's set, and a little bit of D's. Because I remember they saw myself and Matthew McKenna slow dancing with each other.
Yeah.
And
I think everyone saw Matthew twerking on the dance floor.
Oh yeah.
Is that where McKenna got the grass skirt? Because I have no idea where he found that thing
I
from.
went and bought that with him on the Sunday.
Okay.
The twerking thing, GM told him to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the second impressive dance we saw on Sunday.
Absolutely amazing.
Matthew McKenna twerking on stage. That was another one I didn't see coming. Along up there with Ingrid's, I don't even know what to call, yoga-inspired interpretive dance.
Yeah.
Can I just say,
It was a thank you dance to Australia.
the entire time she was dancing, I was just hoping that she didn't fall over because the stage was pretty small, for what she was doing.
It was a small
Yeah, for what she
stage.
was doing.
it was a small stage, and the table was like right
And
in
I'm
the
thinking,
middle of it.
please don't fall, please don't fall. And she pulled it off. I'm impressed.
She pulled
Yeah.
off. It was
She
close.
did a
Like she
great
almost
job.
kicked the table 2 or 3 times because I had a good side angle of it, and like we're talking centimeters off from hitting that table on 2 occasions. So
And then she did the run through the crowd and stuff. Because I recorded it, and I was thinking like, should I be recording this? And I turned around, and there was just a wall of camera phones behind me, and I was like, yeah, I could probably record this.
it was we're recording. I want to see the footage. Like I haven't seen the footage of that one yet. I would love to see it.
I'm sure
I'll have
Ingrid
to
would like to see it.
Yeah.
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 Which reminds me, all of the recordings and stuff we did, all those like vlogs I did inside the convention that can help me record and stuff, and the ones I did with US Wall Formal.
Yeah.
I've strung them all together. I'm just editing them now, and they'll be out soon.
Will they be out before or after this podcast?
They'll probably come out at the same time.
Okay. So
Huzzah.
awesome. Check those out then, listeners. If you
Yeah.
are still with us at this stage, check this out. Have a
Oh,
listen.
they're
Have a view through those. There's
Yeah.
some funny stuff in that.
I'll send them to the guests as well, because they'll probably want to see it.
Yes.
Be good.
Other fun moments
But
at the convention.
I actually knew before the convention that Ingrid used to be a burlesque dancer.
Ooh. That.
And for
That
the
explains
younger
a bit.
members of the audience, what is that?
A burlesque dancer is not a stripper. I'll get that right out there. It's actually a risque dance routine. So I think Moulin Rouge, that kind of thing.
I've been to 2 burlesque shows in my life. Each of them of varying degrees of amazing and sexiness, followed by the one where the girls didn't even know how to hula hoop.
Oh yeah, you get a certain variety of talent with those.
Yes.
Things, but when you get a good one and you watch a good one, it is impressive. It is.
I saw
Amazing.
a Chewbacca themed one while someone played the Nyan Cat smooth jazz version on the piano.
I don't even know how to describe that one with words.
And I really wish I was making that up, but no, I wasn't. I was at Gen Con Brisbane 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. Yeah, that was special.
Right.
Dude, nice.
I get around to the Chewy Nyan Cat.
You mean you get off? I mean,
Yes,
whoops.
Ding.
yes, I do. El Presidente.
That's me.
Oh my goodness. Going back to the convention, how long? I'm not suggesting actually. I shouldn't say this convention because I don't think it will happen in Australia. But how long to one of these pony conventions do you guys think until they put on the pony themed burlesque show and during the after hours?
Next year.
I don't see it.
Next question.
I don't see it happening.
Next
No,
question.
it wouldn't happen.
I see it happening in the States.
Las Vegas.
Like DashCon, it was in Vegas,
If Las
right?
Vegas had lived.
DashCon.
Las Vegas,
Yeah.
that was it. Yeah, Las Vegas had lived. That's where it would have been, and that's probably why they went bankrupt.
Yeah.
No, Las
Too much.
Vegas just
Hiring
went up
that.
belly up because it was a scam.
Yeah, that's what they wanted to believe, but in reality, they just spent too much money on the burlesque dancers.
So true.
Oh yeah,
They had to
Didn't they,
dye
like,
her hair
legit-
every shade of the rainbow.
Didn't they actually try hiring like an actual band for DashCon? That's something I heard, but like that was when all the stuff was happening with it, so it might have just been people throwing rumors and crap around.
Yeah, they did hire a band, but they never got paid, and they're like, well, where's our money? And they're like, guys, they've done a run us, so no one's here to pay you. And so there was actually a band, and everyone had paid for that to go to that band, but the organizers had done a runner with the money, and that's why the band never got up. And so the people that then took over said, okay, everyone that paid for a band, you can have an extra hour in the ball pit.
Ball pit.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's where that meme came from. That is where that meme
Yeah.
came from. Because everyone had
Beautiful.
paid for this concert, but it never happened, and that's why it's, you can have an extra hour in the ball pit.
The thing I love about the ball pit is the fact that it wasn't official at all. It's just someone brought the stuff to make a ball pit.
And you know what I love as well?
Yeah.
Is it still lives on. That meme is still living on through Ponycon because
It went-
SalvageCon
yeah.
brought the ball pit. I ended up.
We didn't actually. Someone
Someone
did.
brought it. I ended up face down in it.
That was you, wasn't it? For
That was totally me. who
Oh,
brought the
yeah.
ball.
Thank
you
you.
motherfucker.
Thank you so much for that, because I ended up face down in the ball pit. Pictures were taken. It ended up on 4chan. Thank you. And this year at Ponycon, we started again without the ball pit, but you can see pictures online already of myself, Agent Book Fort, I think Daniel
does
Hemming,
a
and a
ball
few
pit?
others just
No, no
laying
ball pit.
face
I didn't see the
down
ball pit this time.
on the floor. And we laid down face down on the floor. Nobody knew what was going on, but a lot of people started joining in as well. And they were like, "Oh, cool! What's going
Yes.
on?" They just laid down face down, so it still lives on.
Yes, because if you come into a room and seeing people laying down motionless on the floor, clearly you must adapt and survive because there's a noxious gas and you need to get as close to the floor and not move if possible in order to survive.
That's how it's done.
Yeah,
Seems legit.
it is legit. I know. I brought the ball pit.
Didn't it end up in a dump
But-
or something?
No, it came the next day.
Oh man.
Like, it was brought to PikaCon the next day in the middle of
Ah, I remember that. Yeah,
Sydney's
because
park.
But does anyone know what happened to it after
from
that?
what I heard,
Then it got
I
thrown
heard
into
it
a
got
dump, probably.
tossed in a dumpster because nobody wanted to drag it
Okay,
around.
yeah. Because
Rip.
I know that myself and Harry Mescal and James, we got stuck looking after all the boxes and stuff that was like left there. So like, there was like a bunch of us sitting in the ball pit listening to Darude Sandstorm.
That sounds
remember
amazing.
that.
Yeah, and you were there too. Yeah, it was great. We're sitting in the middle of Hyde Park in a ball pit, listening to Darude Sandstorm, just keeping an eye on everyone's shit. Because they all went to go to King's Comics, and they were like, "Oh, we need some people to stay here." And we're like,
Is,
"Yeah, we'll stay." And then when they came back, we left. And then when we came back, everything was gone, and everyone
Is
was
that
gone.
why Oliver was playing Darude Sandstorm on the violin?
Yeah, partially, because like, at the end of that week, Oliver and a bunch of other people, like, they ended up in my place, and we stayed up really late watching Darude Sandstorm videos. So it became
I'm
a
surprised
thing.
it's more than 3 Darude Sandstorm videos.
There's this one of this kid, and he does stuff to his dad, and his dad is like, "Did you do this? Did you do this?" And all he says is, "Darude Sandstorm, Darude Sandstorm," and like, it was hilarious to us.
We were in a Skype group that I'm in. We've actually got a joke going at the moment. Have you heard Newt Storm?
Oh
No.
god, this doesn't have anything to do with Pengu.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
Pengu,
God.
and he goes Newt, Newt, and it's like Newt, 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 Newt. It's just the Darude Sandstorm with Pingu in it. It's hilarious. It's completely ridiculous.
You cannot see how hard the palm of my hand is being engraved into my face right now. Like, there will be a mark left. I am face palming that hard upon hearing that video.
Like his face will be engraved into his hand.
It is indented. It is a little bit painful now. I need more whiskey.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
wait, bourbon. Sorry, not whiskey, bourbon.
Doesn't even know what he's drinking now.
I can't afford whiskey. That's good stuff. I'm drinking Jim Beam. Yeah.
Dude, nice. And just quickly, formal, can you check your Skype? I will send you something.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And segue on to the next thing, which is also up to formal.
Yep.
You organize this one.
Yeah, segues, right. That's the thing the professionals do. All right. Edit that out. Continuing on back at the convention. Continuing on back at the convention. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was the cosplay contest, actually.
Oh, yes.
Because, Spectrum was in it, and he is our
Yep.
guest of honor.
I am?
You are. You are honorable.
I feel special now,
You
thanks.
should. Are you still wearing that red jacket?
Not right this very second, no. I think I
didn't-
wore the white pants the other day, though, for something.
Okay, white pants outside of cosplay just doesn't seem like a good idea usually.
I like white clothes, so they make me feel fancy.
It's just a hard look to pull off, and they get dirty easily.
Yeah, fair point, fair point.
Anyways,
I've got bright yellow pants that I wear all the time. They're great.
but
Who needs pants?
bright yellow. Mine were white, and then they became yellow. And that was a joke taken directly from SpongeBob. Anyways,
Dude, nice.
the cosplay contest was because that is, like, in terms of feedback from the convention itself so far, the cosplay contest, I think, has been the most controversial part because of how it was organized and, you know, how quick it was thanks to the Artists Challenge. Good job, Paul. It had to be pretty rushed through. So I want to know, Spectrum, as someone who is participating in it, like, do you feel those same sentiments? Like, did it feel rushed and unorganized to you?
It felt rushed, yeah, but at the same time, I have sympathy for them because, you know, obviously it wasn't meant to be rushed and the artist stuff wasn't meant to go over, so, like, it was rushed and it did kind of suck, but I realized it wasn't their fault, and, like, I guess now they'll just sort of plan for that, and, one of the things I heard someone say was they're like, oh, they should have had a gap after cosplay contest so that if something goes over like that again, then they can afford to have the cosplay contest go on longer. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that next year, because I remember the past few years cosplay contests, they were a lot more interesting because they're actually like, oh yeah, how did you make this and why are you doing this character and all that sort of stuff. This time it was really just get up there, hey, that's very nice, do a twirl, cool, off you go.
But even this time I noticed there was a lot, like, there was fewer cosplayers than there was last year.
Yeah.
You know,
It almost felt like there's more cosplayers at SalvageCon.
Yeah, but we got a lot of we ended up setting up a photo booth for the cosplayers as well, and we have photos of almost all of them. I think a few people didn't come back behind to get photos, even though I told the people organizing the contest send them to the signing room to get their photos afterwards for free, and some people didn't turn up.
Ooh.
Oh well,
That's awkward.
they missed
I
out.
do know, like, in terms of it being unorganized, I can say the cosplay contest had a plan. And it was a good plan. However, for whatever reason, the plan didn't go through, and, like, there was actual prizes for this, from what I gathered. Like, there was a trophy for the winner of the one division. I don't remember what the winner of the other division got. But the fact is, there's prizes and clearly labeled divisions. Somehow, it fell onto me to jurisdict who goes into what division. And someone with no experience in the cosplay scene, no experience judging whatsoever, and I used Brill, because Brill was also kind of in charge of putting it together, and as I said, he probably had someone better in mind than me, but his suggestion was just go around, ask people, if they've been cosplaying for 2 years or more, they go into, like, the adult group, I guess, or, like, the advanced group, and if not, then they're in the beginners group. I don't know. Apparently beginner is a bad term. There's, like, a specific term you're supposed to use. Again, yeah, this is coming from the person who was determining, I don't even know what the divisions were called. So not only was that my job there, I also got thrown into judging, having no idea what criteria or anything goes into judging cosplay at all. And
trial by fire is the best trial.
yeah, exactly. So that, I mean, could the cosplay of contest be better organized? Probably, but again, it comes to the time, it comes to the circumstance around it. I still think it was a lot of amazing cosplays. I'm really happy that both Sweetie Heart won the advance, because I know how much work she put into it. No offense, Spectrum.
Oh, no, none taken.
But Sweetie Heart's thing was really good. I mean, my vote was still from SalvageCon as well, the Cutie Mark Crusader, being the literal crusader with the heads of ponies on
Daniel
his belt
Hemming.
and the likes. Yes. I still think that is an amazing play on words. Plus, it was the Scootaloo one, and I'm biased as hell. But Ingrid really liked yours a lot. Spectrum, like, a lot. And she took more pictures of you than any other one who came up there. And I remember, like, trying to signal you, be like, look over here, she's taking pictures, this is really cool. And you just ignored me.
Sorry, man. There's bright lights and there's people talking. And I was trying to make sure that my cutie mark stayed on.
But,
People
As I
ignoring you? Oh, that's nothing new.
the cosplay contest, though, like, cosplay contest was fun. None of us had any idea how to judge anything. Like, I'm pretty sure, I forget who the third judge was. The, girl with the rainbow dash hair. Does anyone have any idea who that was?
Totally.
Nope.
No idea. All I know, they got a selfie and I wasn't in it. But, probably because I was, like, super sweaty and smelly at that stage. Because I forgot the first rule, which I said out loud during the opening thing. Use deodorant. It'll be courteous to the people next to you. And then, of course, I forgot my own.
Ah, so it was you I smelled. I see.
Whoops. Yeah, probably was. I'm a hairy, sweaty guy underneath the fine clothes and refinement and sense of social justice. I'm Batman. Anyways, I need more bourbon. Clearly, we are at a lack of bourbon. The point I'm getting to, though, with that was the cosplay contest was a cool experience. A little disappointing, however, as a whole, I still think it ran smoothly because the best contests wound up winning. Sorry, the best cosplays wound up winning. And at the end of the day, like, no one really doubted the winners, in my opinion. So, as long as the right verdict was had, hooray to the contest. Next year, I do believe there will be more time. So,
Yeah, you definitely need 2 hours for these kind of things.
I miss the acts, actually, because I remember the first year, people were, like, literally singing and dancing.
There was a really good. I remember the first year someone did a Diamond Dog cosplay, and like their acting in character had it was a poem they done for Rarity, and it was really really funny, and like they were doing the right voice and everything. That was really great. I think they might have been one of the winners.
They were one of the winners. I just can't remember if they were first place.
That they deserved it because it was really good.
I think they were first place, actually.
Melbourne also had some acts as well for the cosplays, if I recall.
Oh, yeah.
They had someone saying a poem and a couple of other things.
Yeah, I mean, also, we should talk about the auction, too, because the auction was pretty spectacular this
That
year.
$900.
As is always yearly. $950 poster. But
You want to know more story about that one?
I would love to hear more story about that.
Well, after he got the $925, I think it was, his intention is to actually give that poster away to the other dude who was bidding against him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy is awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, so-
like,
There are levels, and he's
Sorry.
at the next level.
Yeah, so not only is he going to be donating the whole $925 to charity, he's also taking that poster and donating it to the other guy that was being against him because he is an absolutely avid Flufflepuff fan.
I mean, that entire, like, first of all, like, we should describe the item, I think, a bit more that went for it. It was, I'm pretty sure it was $950, not $925, but it was
It was $925.
It was
I remember
$925?
because I corrected you later that night. When
Okay, well, it's $9. I like saying $950. All right, $925 then. My apologies. The $925 poster was a print onto, like, a canvasy material. I forget the actual term, but it was
vinyl?
It might have been vinyl, actually. But it was of Chrysalis and Flufflepuff in a very cutesy pose. And I remember at the start being upstairs and looking over the items, and one person in particular just was like, I have to have that. I don't care about anything else. I have to have that. For those who know Azza, it was him. Like, Spec, you might know Azza. I'm pretty sure you do.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
Ezra.
Yeah, he was, I have to have this. And so I knew right there, like, this item was going to be going for a couple hundred at least. No idea that would be breaking the 900 mark at all. And
Can anyone remember what the really expensive stuff from the past few years was? Because I remember the first year the most expensive thing that went was a big Luna plushie for like 800 odd.
Oh,
so like
yeah.
I was really surprised that was topped by something that wasn't a plushie.
Yeah.
yeah, I was thinking, because there's the plushie that went here, and then how much did the guitar go for last year?
Didn't that go like really cheap because no one could play guitar or something like
Oh,
that?
I thought the guitar would have been the most. Like, I missed the
It went
auction
cheaper
last
than I
year.
expected.
I
So-
wasn't around for the auction either.
It probably would have been a plushie, and it probably would have been Luna. Like, it's safe to say it would have been a Luna, or who was popular? Like, which niche character was popular last year? Fluttershy or Luna, I would say.
Hang on, let me go back through my pictures because I got some pictures of the art stuff that
Alright.
was there, so I'll take a look.
Well, while
You
you're
guys keep
doing
talking while I do that.
Well, while you're doing that, like, in terms of the auction, like, first of all, I loved the charity it was going for, Beyond Blue, raising awareness for, you know, depressed, suicidal, anxiety-ridden young adults. It's definitely a cause I think a lot of people within the Brony fandom in particular can get behind and support. And then seeing, like, how much people were throwing down on these items, like, the poster obviously was the big one, $925. That's ridiculous. But, like, the plushies as well. The Coco plushie was about 400 something. The Mod Pie plushie was 600 something. I'm pretty sure.
I honestly thought that Coco would be the one that sold the most. Like, went for the highest bid.
Yeah, like it was kind of surprising. And at the end of the day, only one item went for under $100, which
And
was
that was the
the
first item, the
no,
shield.
the first item went for 100 exactly.
No, it went
No,
for
it went for
50 bucks.
50.
No, it was the shield. The first
Yeah,
shield went for 100. The second shield went for 50.
No, it was the other way around. The first
You
shield
sure?
went for 50 bucks. The second shield went
'Cause-
for 150.
Because the first one only got like one bid, the second one got like 2 or 3, I think.
Yep.
I could be
I
misremembering
think
though.
it was that way.
I could, you know what?
Because the dude, because I know, because I was chatting to the dude, and he's like,
Steve.
that cost me a lot more than just 50 bucks
50,
to make that.
yeah.
Yeah, he was unhappy with that. But
He made up for it with
Slowly.
the goblet set and the Apple Jack Daniels flask as well. So he made up for it with those two.
this looks really poor on me, just getting all these facts wrong, considering I was on stage during this.
Well, you
I'm
had
just-
your job, which was to try and sell the items. You weren't really paying
Yeah.
attention to who was
Which,
paying
which,
what. and
which
how much
brings
they
me
were
back to a point. Who is going to buy a shield at a pony convention?
I was tempted to since I was doing that Shining Armor cosplay.
Okay, how would you have taken it back with you to Victoria?
God, I don't know, thrown it in a box on a plane or something. That would have been like a problem for future.
Can I just put this out here that I got to the auction late, and if I had known that shield, the
Yeah.
first one, had gone for 50 bucks, I would have outbid him easily.
What
Fair
would you
enough.
have used
It's
it
a
for, though?
shield, dude.
You
Like,
use it
I-
to defend yourself from arrows and
Yeah.
swords.
Exactly.
See, I saw it and I thought I could do a Shining like Knight armor cosplay with this. This would be really cool if I had like a plastic sword and stuff to go with it for next year's con. But like, I mean, outside of cosplay or LARP, it's just sort of gonna sit
You know
around
what?
your house.
Yeah,
I'd have thrown on my luchador mask. I'd have brought the shield up on stage while I announced the fan fiction winners, and that it would have been worth it.
it would have
Yeah.
been worth it for that. Like that would have
That's
been fun. But the shield, that was sort of disappointing. Like the $50 shield, the one item did not reach 100 because I was going to bring up as well. Like he was disappointed, and I guess the other awkward moment at the auction was when I completely missed someone for the shipping game poster.
Oh, yeah.
That happened. Which I think is still a relevant point to discuss, like how to improve the auction for next year's, because I being on stage and trying to like run it, I would vouch for more spotters in the
Yeah,
audience.
you needed at least 3. I don't know how many you had. I think you just had the one, didn't you?
I had one spotter, and the rest was
Yeah,
up to
you
me.
need at least 3.
Wasn't there? Wasn't there one point where someone did put their hand up to bid, but you couldn't see it, so you just said sorry, too bad, I've already called it for
Yeah,
the
that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it was horrible because I wanted to continue, and McKenna was standing behind me just like, no, dude, let it go. And I'm like, I feel so bad for this guy.
Don't take your bid anymore.
But
Let it
because
go.
Also, it should be worth noting, I don't know who did it, but Dawn put an item up. I forget which item it was. Because when you're up there coordinating the auction, you're given a number, the person who submitted the item description, a starting bid, and a minimum buying bid. So a lot of people were saying if they found it weird I was starting so low for these things, that's because I had to. But one of the items, which I later found out was put up by Dawn, was under the name Mein Führer,
I remember that.
which I read
I
aloud
heard about this.
and immediately just like tried to cover it up, and there was this awkward like 6 second silence after I said it. It was like, and here's the ones coming from Mein. No, that can't be right. Mein Führer? Führer? Anyways, here's the item, and like just, whoever played that prank or whatever wrote that down, kudos to you. You made me look like an ass. Well played.
Like talking about stuff like that. When my league team was doing a 24-hour stream, there were people who were donating with when you donate, your name comes up on the screen. There's people donating with names like Osama bin Laden and stuff, or like just things in Arabic. And as we were trying to read out every message, and it just became like really hard at one point. There's
Oh, yeah.
someone donating in 20-cent intervals, like $15 worth and 20 cents, and just putting like really racist things into it. Oh, it was fun.
Well
See,
done.
but when you're not in front of a live audience,
Oh,
like,
we were.
well, good point. But you can't see their faces. Like, when I'm
Oh,
trying to say,
that's
if I
true.
was there, I would have read them out like a champ because, I won't see the shocked, horror expression of the little kids and their angry parents right next to them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go for it, Osama bin Bang Gang Bang. 20
What?
cents. The hoof wave. Thank you very much.
Well done.
Yeah, you are a true hero to us all, Osama bin Gang Bang.
Well, I do know how to improve the auction. You gotta have it
Yeah.
on the Saturday. That's the
Yes.
thing. Because having it on the Sunday, people either have to hold off their cash for the Sunday or spend it at the Traders Hall. But if you have the auction on the Saturday, people's wallets are still fat, so they can spend more money on the auction. And then if they do have stuff left over, they'll come in on the Sunday. Oh, I'll go to the Traders Hall. Let's buy stuff.
Exactly. Like, I could get behind that. Also, like, as an MC perspective, it's, easy to get excited on the first day. By the end of the second day, you're pretty tired. At
I
least
think a lot of
was.
the congoers are pretty tight as well too.
Exactly. Like, so I would be down for having it on Saturday if they let me do it again. I'm pretty sure that was my trial run. I'm not sure I passed yet.
I could tell you a lot of the traders probably would agree as well, because I know a lot of them on Saturday were saying, "Where is everyone?" They didn't make much on
Yeah.
Saturday at all.
Well, aside from that first rush, I mean, the trading hall. Because I remember last year the trading hall was right in the thick of the things.
Yeah.
This year it was kind of off to the side, which I may have hurt them a bit. Like, you had to go through 2 rooms to get to the main stage to the trading hall. Whereas before, like, you could just go straight from main stage to trading hall. I mean, yeah, it's only like a 7-meter walk, but even that I think might have dissuaded some people. I don't know. That's just speculation.
I wonder whether it's a bit of a lose-lose situation when you put it like that, because like the last 2 years, I remember the trade, like you say, the Traders Hall was the real thick of things. There's a lot of people there, but then so obviously, if there's too many people there, then it can be off-putting to go in, and it means you might not be able to get the stuff you want if other people beat you to it. But since this year there was less people there, then that hurts the artists and stuff. Because I noticed a lot of them were doing like cheaper deals and stuff by the Sunday.
That's been the same for every convention, though.
Yeah, every time it hits the Sunday, they're like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna reduce it by a couple of bucks." But definitely on the Sunday afternoon, they'd reduced it heavily, absolutely heavily, because a lot of them don't come from the Gold Coast or had to take planes and stuff. So the more they ship back, the more it's actually going to cost them. So it's almost better for them to sell it at a loss and low price, so they save on the shipping costs.
Which is what comes up to the next point I kind of wanted to talk about. Where do you guys what speculation on where the next con is? Because it's always fun to play. Where do you think it's going to be? Sydney.
I should hope Sydney or maybe Canberra. I know they were sort of playing around with the idea of having it in every major city, but realistically, especially with the lower turnout due to the cyclone and whatnot, I think realistically they're going to have to hit it somewhere where a lot of people are going to be able to get there pretty easily.
At a place they've probably had it before as well.
Yep. I mean, I'd be down to return to Sydney. I think that would be a good choice personally because the first venue was still really good. Like, I did prefer this venue better than the first 2. However, the first venue was very nice. It had that outside area where you could hide. The side stage was easily accessible. You don't get lost having to go up elevators or anything. The main stage was the centerpiece, much more so than I think it was this year when we're looking at Sydney. So yeah, by all means, I'd be 100% down to go back to Sydney and rock the same venue as the original Ponycon.
The
I
first venue
didn't get
was
to go.
really good. I was gonna say the first venue was really good, but I remember getting there was pretty annoying because I had to catch a bus there, and I don't really like Sydney's public transport, so especially when you're in cosplay and you're carrying all these bags and crap and all your merch, I found that was a bit annoying to get there. But the actual place itself, yeah, that was great.
It was the same place as SalvageCon.
I didn't go to SalvageCon.
Ah. Yeah, so SavageCon
go
was
to
the same
SavageCon,
place,
yeah.
but like a different building.
Yeah. I think the SalvageCon buildings were maybe a bit better because there was food courts just like underneath it.
Yeah, but that's too small
Oh yeah.
for
But well, I know I'm not sure exactly how much to share. But if there was going to be convention there, the area that we had that little pavilion, that
Yeah.
is just supposed to be the traders hall. This other buildings, there's auditoriums and stuff all around it, and that glass building in the center is like good for traders.
It would be a good traders hall.
It's just we only had for SalvageCon. That's all we had the money for.
And it would, but
was just
you
the
made it
Solomon
work.
Center building. Yeah, we did.
Made it work. I mean,
Somehow.
SavageCon was great. I mean, Ashley still arrived, and we got Peter Sucks out of that as well.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I know that we Matthew McKenna tried to do another one.
Yes.
Was Cheer Up Ingrid.
Megan.
Yeah.
Cheer up Megan, but it didn't
Cheer Up
really work
Megan.
out so well.
Well, it didn't kind of. Yeah, it didn't.
Megan wasn't very cheerful.
Yeah.
Didn't get traction.
Aw.
Because I
Good job,
actually
Paul.
joined the fandom in late 2013, so I didn't get to go to the original Sydney convention, but I was at the Melbourne convention, and that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But definitely it was a bit claustrophobic, especially because it was in the basement for Melbourne.
So yeah, I mean, now we have to do that thing, that wonderful thing, which is honestly my favorite part following these conventions. Comparing them to the past ones, where does this rank? Was this the best Ponycon? Second best? Worst? Like, where does this one fit in?
I'm just happy to have conventions, honestly. Like, they're all really good, and, like, the atmosphere and the community is something I don't get every day, and hanging out with all of my friends in one place, especially since all of us are from all over Australia, the fact that it's once a year makes it really special, and when you get back home, you're just like, I wish I was still there. Like,
Yeah.
I have the same feeling every single convention, but I can't pick a favorite.
I'd say for myself, the second was probably the highlight. I'd say the biggest one for me. However, that being said, I think it's still improving each year. But again, I think the cyclone really hurt this one. But for
The Cyclone and Sydney.
yeah,
both this
but
year.
for as few
Yeah.
people who showed up, I mean, I was still running all over the convention. I was so tired by the second day, and that didn't really happen the first
Yeah.
two times. So there was so much going on that I think still it is improving. But that said, the cyclone in Sydney really hurt it a bit this year.
Yep. I think if I'm going to jump in now, this one definitely ranks up there. I don't know. I mean, out of the three Ponycons, this one, personally for myself, was the most fun and the most rewarding experience I've had in terms of meeting people, because the first year I didn't know that many people. Second year I knew a bit more, but I was kind of sick, so I didn't really get to fully enjoy it. And this year, like, I know, and with friends, with pretty much everyone who was there, I knew by name. And I got to really experience and live it up much more than I had in the past, so I think this one was still definitely my favorite of the three pony conventions. However, when it comes to atmosphere, I don't know if any convention will be able to top SalvageCon in terms of atmosphere, because of just the nature of how it was put together and how we're going to make the best of a situation that was given to us.
Yeah, I could feel that.
Like, you can't recreate that, you can't recreate that without something going wrong at first, and I don't want things to go wrong.
No.
So by that definition, I still think SalvageCon was probably the most fun convention I've been to. But when it comes to Ponycons, yeah, they're getting better each and every year, and this one I think was by miles the best of the three.
I liked how it was so spacious. This Ponycon, like there
Definitely.
was a big stage, the minor stage, you had the games hall. I mentioned earlier about Melbourne feeling claustrophobic. This one felt like it had a lot of space and a lot of parts you could explore. And when you actually did go into those certain parts, it felt like, right, this is what for, and it actually felt like a different area and a completely different feel as well.
Definitely agree with that. I mean, and honestly, subconsciously, that's probably the reason why I preferred this one a lot, was because it was so open. Like with Melbourne, it was kind of hard to stay the entire day just because you'd get so claustrophobic you'd have to step out. With this one, there were so many places you can go and so many places you can hide and chill and relax while still being in the convention itself with something to do.
Except for the MCs.
Well, yeah. Yeah, hiding in the photography room or behind the stage, yeah. Alright, what about for you, Spec?
Yeah, I'd say this one was really good. I think maybe it's like rose-tinted glasses a bit. I reckon the first one was really good, but at the same time, I think that was also partly because of stuff that I was just doing outside of the con that weekend. So I'd say this one was the best. And I remember one of the things I realized with this is I actually missed a few panels and stuff I wanted to see, but that's because I was doing other stuff. So like, I think that's a very good sign that like there was so much stuff to do that I wanted to do that I couldn't do it all. If that makes sense.
Yeah. You know what was cool this year as well? Like on that same note, the side stage was full. I don't think that's happened in the other cons for like any sort of panel up there. But I saw the side stage full quite a lot of the time, with the main stage still being super popular. And that just shows how strong each panel was. Like, everything that was going on was interesting. So that, I don't know, like for me, seeing the full side stage is just like a sign of how strong these conventions really have become. My take, at least.
Quite true.
So, moving on from the convention, we have a guest who I believe it's fair actually can explain about himself now. So, Spectrum, you write stories.
Yes, I do. I've written, I think, 16 or 17 stories on film fiction at this point. Actually, I can open a new tab and check. And, yeah, I write, obviously, fanfic, pony fanfics. I mostly recently have been writing, when I say recently, that's like probably for the last year or so, writing what I call the Vinyl and Octavia series.
Okay. That's a pretty common trope, though. Like, what separates your story from the others?
I think with Vinyl and Octavia, it's very common just to do they meet, they fall in love, the end type thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've read a lot of them. It's sort of, I guess that they've probably inspired me quite a bit. I look at the Vinyl and Octavia series as a bit of like, it's a bit of, maybe not the best comparison because I didn't start reading it until after I was writing the Vinyl and Octavia series. But if anyone has heard of the Dresden Files, which is a book series, it's very episodic, and each one, it has its own continuity, but each book can stand on its own, and each one is just like, this one has vampires, this one has ghosts, or whatever. So I'd compare it to that in that even though there's continuity and stuff between the Vinyl and Octavia series stories, there's still like, this one they're detectives, this one they're in prison, and so on and so forth.
So it's unique one-ofs, or like, monster of the week, I guess, sort of style writing for each of these chapters.
I guess to a certain extent, you could sort of almost call it genre of the week. Because, I don't know, because there's definitely some overlap. There's some which are more slice of life than others. There's some which are adventure.
Yep. Alright. Cool. So, have you ever tried to submit any of these then to Equestria Daily and Slorg? Have you ever spotted any of Spectrum's fics, to your knowledge?
I haven't seen any.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I've tried submitting a few. I think I've tried submitting 3 stories to Equestria Daily, and they got rejected. And like, I think part of it's because like, I'm very much not. This is gonna sound really bad as a writer. It's not good advice. I'm not really the type to do a lot of rewriting and lots of drafts and stuff. Like I said, that's not a good habit. If you're an aspiring writer, don't be like me. So like, when I just get all this stuff going, this is wrong and this is wrong and this is wrong, and I'm thinking to myself, I think it's okay, and I just go, whatever. Maybe I'll try some other time. Okay. So I have tried submitting. Nothing has gotten through.
Oh. That's always depressing. Like, and how have you handled that, though? Because it seems like you've taken it on the chin and just kept doing your own thing. I know other writers may take that and just become discouraged and, like, give up or send people like Slorg angry emails. So how have you taken the setbacks?
Basically, firstly, when I'm writing, my first thought is I'm writing for myself more than other people. Like, I think the reason I want to write this idea, the reason why I'm like, yeah, I have to start typing this now, is because I get this idea and I just really want to express it. And so I sort of think to myself, if I can be happy with it, if I feel like this idea which I got has been executed well enough, then I can be happy with it. And beyond that, if anyone else likes it, then, you know, that's just bonus. With regards to responding to criticism, I don't think I've gotten, like, anything ever really, like, bashing my work or anything like that. For the most part, if I get criticism, I'll just sort of be like, do they have a point? Like, because, again, like, criticism is 99% of the time valid. Sometimes there will be people going, I didn't like this, and you can be like, well, maybe you just don't like that character, or you misinterpreted their actions, or whatever. But, when I do get criticism, it's sort of, do they have a point? If so, yeah, I guess I should fix that, or I should keep an eye out not to do that next time. Because criticism is how you will learn to fix your mistakes at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good to hear. I mean, and I can agree with that sentiment. Like, if you can't take criticism, then you're never going to improve, because even if it's criticism of yourself by yourself, you need to be able to learn from what you're doing and press forward. So, very strong sentiments there. Continuing on, you did mention that, you know, ideas come to your head and you just put them down. Have there ever been any ideas that you put down from pen to paper, or in this case, click, click, keyboard, and just gone, what am I writing? What is this horrible thing? And which idea was that?
There was one time, it was when I was still quite new to fanfic writing. I'd probably only been doing it for 2 or 3 months by this stage, and I'd gotten this idea just while drying the dishes, and I thought it was just Vinyl and Octavia go to a party and they play Spin the Bottle. Like, this was my first Vinyl and Octavia story, I think. But that actually turned out very well. I just sat down, wrote it all in like 2 or 3 hours. I was very pleased with it. So then later I thought, that felt really good. Then I thought, what's another really cool idea I could do? So I had this really... Somehow I got into my head, I was like, what if I did like the opposite of that? Like a sad, they break up stuff. Yeah, that'd be really... Like, I'll get to the emotions and stuff. And it just turned out really horribly, just really over the top. It's not sad, it's... I really don't like it. It's called, I think, Drowning Her Sorrows. It's basically Vinyl and Octavia meet in a cafe. Then Octavia goes, I'm dumping you, Vinyl. Then Vinyl gets really drunk, and it's the end.
That sounds... Well, it sounds
terrible.
Realistic, if nothing else. I mean...
It sounds accurate to the characters and how they're portrayed by fans.
Not just that, but in terms of most breakups at this stage. I just realized something as well while you were explaining that. We know nothing about Lycan.
Hey.
This is true, especially since he is our new guy.
Yes. And we know... Hi, Lycan. You're here.
Hello.
So, however, instead of having you explain who you are, because that's no fun, I want Spectrum to try and explain who you are, based solely on your Skype image right now. Because Spectrum's a writer and is therefore creative. What can you tell us about Lycan? And for those who, because you might not know what the picture is, we'll make sure we get the picture up in the description of this podcast. So
I should probably change that picture, although it is a pretty good one.
Well, not yours. I mean of Lycan's, like the pony with the medical cross and the bacon mane. Tell us about our new host, Spectrum.
Lycan, I don't really know enough about him, to be honest.
Oh, that's no fun. Well, start with his eyes and the fact how they almost look reptilian.
That's true. They kind of look, reptilian, maybe draconic. I don't think this is a pony creator type thing. It looks like it's being commissioned or you've drawn it yourself. There's a really big ear. That could be style choice, though. I'm not sure whether the cross is supposed to be like the English, I think it is, flag, or a medical thing, like Formal said.
Definitely
It's
not
a medical.
So it is a medical thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have dragon blood, elf ears, and medical things. So
and bacon mane.
And bacon mane. So
it's like crispy bacon though. It's not like flim and flam or anything. This is like bacon. Really deep fried in oil crispy bacon.
It's the good bacon.
What did I miss?
So from this we can conclude that Lycan is a half dragon, half pony, half elf who uses magical bacon to cure others of their ailments, but only crispy bacon because it needs to be cooked in order for the healing ailments to come forth from the baconous aroma.
Yeah.
I thought bacon solves all problems anyway.
It does, and that's why you are a great person, pony, avatar, dragon, elf.
I dig it.
Who stares very, very weirdly at me as I look at it. It's kind of like a looking from the corner of the eye, like, I know what you're looking at. You're looking at me type look.
So,
I dig it.
So what are the odds of including this character now in your next fic?
Well, I'm trying to think. Because the next one, which I'm writing, is going to be called Vinyl and Octavia Break the Time Stream. So there's going to be a bit of time travel. So I could probably find a place for Bacon Mane Healing Elf Dragon Pony in there somewhere.
That sounds very good. I think Lycan, you owe me a thank you for getting you a cameo in
What?
Spectrum's next fic now.
Thank you very
He said
much.
cameo.
For that.
You can. I'll find a way to make him a supporting character for at least one of the chapters.
Oh, that would be... That is a real honor.
I
He's
am
so-
honored.
He should be, like...
Heal the tank. Heal
Anyone-
the tank.
Anyone listening now knows that my standard's
back
so
again.
low that all you need to do is just describe your OC to me, and then I'll put him in a story. Apparently.
Oh, no. You shouldn't say that. Not any OC. Only the best of the best OCs.
That's a good point. This is a pretty great OC.
This is what Lycan has created. I was about to take credit for it. I really can't. What Lycan has created is just a magnificent example of everything that represents the Australian brony community.
Can
Thank
I mention something?
I'm just saying this to my planning notes now to include Lycan's OC, so you'll definitely be seeing him in there at some point.
All right.
Oh,
Firstly, can you guys still hear me?
I'm waiting
Well-
to die a slow and horrible death now.
Welcome to Hoofwave, Lycan. You're one of us now.
Yay!
Can you guys still hear me?
Maybe. Anyway, Slug, you were trying to say something. Matt?
Yes.
Sorry, we kind of interrupted you there.
You'll have to cut this out of the podcast.
Or I guess
my
not.
video driver has just
No, we
crashed.
lost Lord.
Now I can hear you
Lord-
guys, and
Lord
I can
has
still hear the call and
died.
everything, and I
Oh,
can speak,
jeez.
obviously. However, I
That was-
cannot get to Audacity.
Oh, how do
meaning
you say
I
the
cannot
segue like
stop the
that?
recording, and
I
I
don't
think
think
we
you can.
just lost all of my audio because
This
of
is why we all record our own track.
Exactly.
which is fun times.
So we got a nice little bit to edit.
So I'm
out
staring
there.
at a
I don't
blank
know.
screen, and I've been trying to get it
Whilst
back,
Lord
but I think
is
the
coming
video
back to
card
us
just
from the
crashed.
land of the dead, does anyone else have any questions for Spectrum?
Yes. For someone that isn't familiar
You
with
guys
your
still
work,
there?
what story would you like to point them towards?
Hello.
Firstly, I'd say my
completely
personal
crashed.
favorite work I've done, and it was my first fanfic, so it's probably it's probably the
Yes.
first one I remember. Is,
Yes.
my first one I wrote was
Yes.
a crossover between
Alright.
Metal Gear Solid and My Little Pony. So
I know.
if you like
Okay.
Metal Gear Solid,
So
I'd
yeah, I
recommend
think
that.
that's saved.
I'm
I don't
excited.
know.
That's probably my favorite story.
We might have to like splice
Um,
them together. I don't know.
Failing
I'll just
that, I'd
okay. I'll
say,
send them to you.
like I said, the Vinyl and Octavia series is I've been working.
It's
on that
recording
for a
now.
while.
We'll just 3, 2, 1 it or
I
something.
wouldn't say to start with the first one though, because it's a bit lengthy and it wasn't as
It
comedic.
was weird,
then.
like
Now
it
it's
like just the
series
video
is
drivers
comedy
crashed,
from
so I
about
could
the
still
second
talk
or
to you
third
guys for a
onwards.
while.
So
But it was
I'd
just
say
black, and I
to
was like,
start
"Oh,
off
you gotta
with,
be ch-"
I can provide a link in the Skype chat if you want. The third one series, which is Vinyl and Octavia Get Incredibly Drunk. It's just the two of them go out and get drunk for the entire evening. There's nothing more to it than that.
Okay.
That's where best conversation is made, though.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I definitely heard some of those great drunken conversations on that first night, the Friday night of the convention.
Oh, I was
when
actually
Spectrum
just telling
and
you guys. I
others
was like,
decided to hold
guys,
a good old-fashioned
it's-
shindig
it's-
right
it's
outside my
blacked
room.
out on me. My video
Yeah.
driver
I wasn't
crashed.
the
I
one
can still hear
hosting.
you.
I
Can you
didn't
hear me?
invite myself
Hello.
over. I was
Hello.
invited.
And then I'm like,
I know. I kid. Besides,
And then I was
like,
gone.
you weren't the one.
and
who
then
I
there was
heard
a lot of
the
swearing,
most.
but you guys.
I don't
didn't
think.
hear
I
that.
don't know. All the voices sound the same.
I definitely shouted at the others several times. I was
Maybe.
like, guys, we need to be quiet.
I think-
Just like what I'm not doing right now.
I think everyone shouted at one stage or
'Cause
another,
I was
"Be
thinking
quiet,"
if I've got to
and
dub
woke me
this,
up
I'm
with
gonna
a shout of "Be quiet."
be so angry.
But like, that's what happens, I suppose, at these events. Continuing on, has there ever been a fanfic that you read, or not necessarily a fanfic, but really any story that's just inspired you to pick up and start writing at that moment? and which fic was it? So your most inspirational piece of work.
Well, like I said, did I say before, actually? I usually do a fair bit of planning, just be like, this would be a good idea, then I'll sort of sit down and go, what could I do with the potential for this idea? So, nothing I really think that made me just go, right, I'm going to start writing a story, since I do a fair bit of planning beforehand. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think, because I know there's a song which made me really want to write, and that's what got me starting the Vinyl and Octavia series. Does that count?
Yeah, that's perfect. What song was it?
I'll provide a link for this one as well. It's called A Tropical Octave by some artist. His name is Coconero or Coconero, I'm not sure.
Yes,
I
I
think
know that
everyone
one.
has seen that.
Yeah.
It's called a Tropical Octave, and it's just a song. The original was an instrumental, but there's a version with rapping over it. It's just Vinyl and Octavia stuck on a deserted island, and I heard and I thought that'd be a really cool idea for a fanfic. Is just those two stuck there. Man, imagine all the wacky stuff they could get into. So I was going to do that, and then, like, while I was thinking about it, I suddenly found out that other people had the same idea, and there's I can think of at least two I found on FimFiction where it's Vinyl and Octavia trapped on an island, and then I was like, well, damn, now that makes it a lot less fun. So I was a bit disappointed at first, then I thought to myself, what is it about that I really like, and what's really appealing about it? And I sort of thought, I like the idea of them being, like, isolated from society, so they've got to sort of get on with each other, and then there's a bit of a survival aspect and stuff, so I sort of brainstormed from that, and that's what led into the first story in the Vinyl and Octavia series, which is Vinyl and Octavia machete their way through the jungle.
And then from there it sort of continued onward, I guess, like, with new outlandish situations?
Well, then while I was in the middle of writing that, I thought I should just write a story about them getting drunk, and it wasn't originally going to continue, but then towards the end I thought, well, I might as well make it a sequel to this one, because then they've got sort of the same history, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so then I did Vinyl and Octavia get incredibly drunk, then halfway through that I thought, I should write a story called Vinyl and Octavia Are Forcibly Shipped. That would be great. And then from there it just sort of spun off, and I was like, yeah, I think I should keep doing this. This is really fun to do.
Cool. And then, so, now you do this quite a lot. How many hours a day do you spend writing fanfiction? Or, I shouldn't say a day, because some days I'm sure you don't get around to it, so we'll go a week. How many hours a week are you spent writing these fanfictions?
It varies, because there'll be sometimes where I'm just sitting down, I'm just writing every day, or if not every day, every week. But then usually after I finish a fic, I'll sort of take a little break for a while, so like I give myself a chance to recharge a bit. Right now, I've done like maybe a few hundred words of the next one, but on a busy week where I'm actually really inspired and I've got all this stuff to do that I want to put down and all these ideas I'm getting, maybe 5,000 to 10,000 words.
Okay. So, that's a good benchmark. I remember when I tried to write fanfictions, my goal was 5,000 a day, and I got burnt out really, really quickly, so carrying off of that...
I think I still follow you on FimFiction, because I remember you were like, hey guys, here's a story I've written, and I was like, I'll follow you, I'll read that later.
Yeah, don't look that up. People
I can provide a link
of the podcast.
I'm gonna find it,
not...
and I'm gonna link it now.
Oh,
I'll find it.
God. I've written 4 fan fictions in my time, 2 of which I didn't publish because they were like pony torture. No, but seriously, they were. So I didn't upload those.
Was it torture for the people reading or for the characters?
Both.
Oh
It was written as a joke for one of my housemates at the time. I think I explained
think-
this in the first podcast, but for the quick refresher, Pinkie Pie gets attacked and mauled by hunting dogs. Is the premise there?
Okay. Before I was a Bernie, I was an avid Bionicle fan, so I think at one point in time I wrote Bionicle fan fiction, but you'll never be able to find it because the website doesn't exist anymore. So, haha, take that. Slog's back.
Slog's back.
Yeah.
Now you
Welcome
can
back.
answer the question I asked you at that exact moment.
Before
you
he
disconnected.
answers the question, though, can I get both of you to do a count together just so I can resync it?
Yes. All right. We didn't lose your recording.
Yeah. Audacity should be able to retrieve it. Yeah. You'll just have to start a second recording underneath it. So,
All right. Yes! 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 Just start chanting yes with me, and then we'll get on. Yes! 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 We're not at all in time. Yes! Yes!
I think we have to get a room.
Yes! Ah.
Yeah, I can splice him.
It's more work for Nav. It's okay.
Yeah. I actually had my computer crash during the recording with Everfree Northwest.
Oh, great.
Anyways.
Jeez. I think my
Dang.
favorite part about recording that one-on-one interview where I crashed was getting the other person's recording and hear them say, and, noteworthy, I think I lost you. Oh, I lost you. When I was going back over, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Well,
that's
this one
awkward.
literally is going to be so. And now, Slorg, I heard you saying something. I think you got cut off. What did you have to say? Oh. And then you were gone. Ouch. But it was recorded, hopefully. Ooh, that'd be fun. Anyways,
Leave that
so
in if I could.
I think we should go. I think we should go back to the interview.
Yes.
Yes,
I got
the
a question
interview.
for you. Is there any particular genre that you enjoy writing?
Yeah. As I sort of implied before, I really like comedy. I just feel lighthearted stories.
No
I think
fiction
they're
thing
really
this week?
fun. Like, especially that silly sort of, maybe not surreal, but just that really silly sort of humor you see in stuff like The Naked Gun and Austin Powers. That sort of thing where stuff doesn't really make sense, but it's done for the sort of for the sake of a joke. I find it's much easier to sort of think to myself. For one thing, it makes me much happier to write it because it's fun, and I think it's much easier to think, what is this funny, or what's a funny thing I can get out of this? And sometimes when I am trying to write something serious, I'll like end up putting jokes in there anyway, because I'll just be like, it's like so serious that I'm like, it's the perfect setup for a joke at this stage. So comedy definitely.
Does slapstick translate to the pony world?
I'd say it works better in a visual medium. There are some of mine where I will just have a character randomly walk into a door or whatever, and I look at it, I'm picturing it, and it's sort of funny, but I've tried to keep it down as I go on, because I've realised that it's the sort of thing that works best in a visual medium.
Okay.
So, continuing on with sort of more questions I have, I guess. What are your big future plans for your writings? Like, is there a big story on the horizon that's just a concept that you can't wait to get out? Are we going to be seeing a lot more Vinyl and Octavia? What's next for Dr. Spectrum?
Vinyl and Octavia fight Godzilla.
Ooh.
For the Vinyl and Octavia series, I've planned out the general gist of the rest of the series. I do have a definite ending point, and you'll know when I've reached it, because aside from the fact they'll try to wrap up any plot threads, it's going to be called Vinyl and Octavia Jump the Shark. So that'll be the final one. After that, I'm not sure. There's a few other ideas I've had for pony fan fiction. Like,
Yes.
I was thinking I really like some of H.P. Lovecraft's work, which not very comedic, but I really like some of his stuff. So I was thinking I wouldn't mind trying some sort of pony stuff with that, like an Eldritch Abomination Cthulhu type thing. Other than that, I'm not too sure, because I've been focusing on the Vinyl and Octavia series for so long that a lot of the time when I do get an idea, it's just, oh, wouldn't it be great if those two were doing that? But so I'm not 100% sure. Part of me debates also trying to write fiction which isn't like fan fiction, but I'll wait for the future to see about that.
Yeah. Cool. So, well, it'll be exciting to see, that's for sure. For all the listeners out there, be sure to give Spectrum a read and enjoy his wonderful fanfics.
Slorky
His
loves you.
fanfiction profile, I believe, will be linked with the podcast. That seems fair.
I've got one other question for you.
Definitely.
How much effort do you go to get your cover art?
Usually I'll just check on Derpyborrow or DeviantArt or something like that. Find a picture which suits it, and just be like to the artist, hey, is it okay if I use this? And they're like, yeah, sure. Sometimes I don't really do any commissions. Ask for commissions or anything. I know a lot of writers do that, because most of the time I can find something which, if it at least vaguely can be applied to the story, that's good enough. For Vinyl and Octavia Break the Time stream, though, I did put out a request for some artwork for it, because short of like just a picture of them hugging or something like that, which is sort of applicable but not really, I knew I wouldn't be able to find anything.
Okay. The only reason I asked that is because I was trying to get a gauge to how important you think that the cover art is to the overall story that you're writing.
I'd say it is fairly important, but I think that the premise is what, like, just the description, that's what's going to draw people in, or at the very least make them say, will I click on this, yes or no? That's the way I figure it. On film fiction, since you can't really see the cover art unless the story is featured, so, and all you got there to go on is a description, so people read the description, and then I reckon people are more likely to choose it, to read it or not, based on that, since that'll also give a bit more, a bit more information about the story in general.
But you can't judge a story by its picture cover.
Oh, definitely. No.
Because, books and covers and that. Although, definitely, I would have to agree that there'd be some draw into it as well. Like, that's how you're going to attract some people just by the art itself. If the art's good and captivating, they will be more inclined to read your story.
Oh, definitely. Like, when I do see good art, which is appropriate, either someone's been inspired by the art, or they've commissioned it, or it's just coincidentally appropriate, it definitely looks better than just getting random images like I do.
Okay. And do you set out, when you're writing a story, do you set out and say, okay, I must keep this less than 10,000 words or something? Or do you just write until you finish with the story?
It depends a bit. I was doing one-shots for a while, which is, just one entire chapter for the story, but I think that probably hurt, and like those would end up between 5 to 10,000 words usually. I wasn't too concerned about the length, but I got a bit worried as I went on that they might have been hurting my stories, because people would probably look at them and be like, whoa, 9,000 words in one chapter, I don't want to read that, I just want to sit down and read something for 10-15 minutes. So nowadays, I'll sort of say I want a minimum of about 1,500 per chapter. Any less than that, and I don't think I'll be like executing it well enough. I think it would be a bit rushed. Any less than that. I don't really have an upper limit, but I usually just say, okay, these are the scenes I'm going to put in. I'll write them out, and if I want any more scenes, then I'll add them, or see if I can squeeze them in later. If it's below 1,000 words, which I don't think it ever has been, then I'll work out how to expand on that, where I can clarify things a bit more, or additional things I could put in.
Alright, thanks.
Ooh. Well, we're getting close to 2 hours now. I think it might be time to, unfortunately, wrap things up. I don't know. How is that the feel?
Amazing. I have no idea. If you guys want to keep going, let's keep going.
This is, maybe edit this bit out now, but I kind of think I have to go in like the next 10 minutes and like start doing dinner stuff for the house, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
maybe start wrapping it up then.
So let's maybe start wrapping it up. All right.
Okay.
Not this week. But okay, so I'll quickly. All right. So if you're listening to this, then hopefully, the photos from Ponycon have already been put out. If they haven't, they'll be out very soon. This should also be released parallel with our video logs from Ponycon, which have short spots with Ingrid Nilsson and also with Megan McCarthy and GM Barrow, who were kind enough to sit in with us and do some recordings. Also, Formal Riot and Matthew McKenna and Fidekez and myself,
Yes.
Noteworthy.
And Steffi.
And Steffi.
Don't forget Yeah, remember our commercial we did on the stage with the cards.
I'm also putting in 2 other videos towards the end of it that were extremely funny at the time and happened during the the aftermath of Ponycon.
And will
We're
not
all packing up.
translate well at all.
Yeah, someone passed out on the floor and we covered them in business cards. We were not the new Hive this year, however.
No. We were the new Ev Dog.
Yeah. Because everyone likes Ev Dog and everyone likes us too.
Yes.
No one likes Hive. I mean,
Shots fired once again.
they're good people. I'm sure they love their 2 listeners.
I love their 2 listeners.
I love you, Blackjack. Just in case you listen to this.
Yeah. I don't know who you are, Blackjack, but I just made an enemy and I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
I am not afraid to die by the hands of whichever Italian hitman you send my way.
Oh yeah. And starting in March and April, we will be finally producing other shows, which include Fan Fiction Fridays with Slog.
Oof. I am more excited about that than I am about doing these podcasts.
And I think someone wanted to do an After Dark podcast as well.
I am also more excited about that because then I can say the naughty words.
I got a person we can I have an artist we can bring on for the first one, so
Ooh.
do that.
Ooh. Actually, that's where we should bring What's a Pokemon.
Yeah.
Because what's a Pokemon? Anyways,
Yeah.
on behalf of myself and only myself, because I think everyone should be able to say goodbye on their own accord. Do it yourselves, you lazy bastards.
This is Noteworthy signing off. Peace out.
This is Lycan, the new guy.
And this is Dr. Spectrum, guest for the first episode. Thank you for having me, guys.
And thank you for joining us. I am Formal Riot. Please follow us on Twitter. Bookmark the page. Follow me on Twitter. Unfollow Noteworthy on Twitter.
Hey.
And
that's at Hoofwave, and then at Formal Riot, and then at Noteworthy Pony.
yes, those are the 3. I don't know Twitter yet. Twitter's strange and confusing for me.
Then at the Slog, and then
Yeah.
at Lycan?
Very Lycan.
That's
Very
very
Lycan.
It's very, very Lycan. Regardless, thank you all for listening and making it through the end of this. Once again, until next time, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.